That is just stunning, absolutely stunning. There are no words to describe how incredible that looks. Is there anywhere better to be riding a motorbike? Morning folks, thank you for joining me. It is the middle of April, probably about just before 10 o'clock in the morning. We're on the Scottish border, so welcome to Scotland, and it is absolutely freezing. Been riding since just after 6 this morning. 50 miles up the A1, probably closer to 60 actually, and then off the A1 and onto the A68 through Northumberland. A68 is a fantastic road, by the way, just like a 50-mile long Big Dipper. Lots of blind peaks and sharp bends. Really good road to ride. Really enjoy riding it every time I ride it. So just crossed the Scottish border. Next stop's not too far away. We're heading to Jedburgh. Going to fill up in Jedburgh, ride through the borders. Last stop today is Fort William. I'm going to use Fort William as a bit of a base camp. I'm going to camp out there for a couple of nights. Give me a chance to explore. I'm actually going to do a loop, probably a 280-mile loop tomorrow. It takes in Skye. I'm going to head across from Meleg on a ferry, a loop of Skye, and then come back over the bridge. Down past Highlands and Castle. Got some amazing roads on the journey up to Fort William today. So like I say, next stop Jedburgh, stop off and get some petrol. Then we're going to head west, cross country, across to Glasgow, through the centre of Glasgow. There will be a short motorway stint through the centre of Glasgow, and then off over the Erskine Bridge, through Dumbarton, up towards Loch Lomond and the Trossachs. So we're going to head up the west coast of Loch Lomond, up towards Crianlarich, and we've got the magnificent Glencoe. Then final leg up towards Fort William. A couple of nights camping there. Glen campsite, somewhere that I've stayed before. Excellent location, probably a bit further out of Fort William than you'd like. A couple of mile walk into Fort William for tea tonight. The campsite itself is really beautifully set. Ben Nevis as a backdrop. Probably still some snow on there as well this time of year. Also using this ride as a bit of a test ride, so a couple of new things on. So we've actually got a zero gravity sports touring screen, so I'll let you know how I get on with that. First impressions very positive. The other thing I'm trying out is the new mount for the GoPro. So on the old screen, GoPro's mounted on the top facing this way, but if I did that on this screen, I would end up with the GoPro right in the line of vision. But actually what this screen does allow is me to put it on the inside of the screen, which shields it from the wind, improves airflow, just neatens it up a little bit. And it's actually hanging upside down, but the GoPro does a good job turning itself around automatically, don't need to change anything. But then the final thing I'm testing is a new set of tyres. So we've gone from Bridgestone T31 to the tyres we had on previously, and we've got a pair of Michelin Road 5s on, so we'll see what all the fuss is about. I'm hearing lots of good things about the Road 5s. Hopefully this is a dry test only, but I've also heard that they perform equally well in the wet. We're not going to head into the centre of Jedburgh, we're just going to skirt Jedburgh. We've got a petrol station just the other side. Quick fuel stop. This one will see us through to Dumbarton. Let's have a quick look at how these Road 5s are scrubbing in. Really distinctive tread pattern on the Road 5s. 60 miles on the A1 wasn't my preferred method of scrubbing tyres in, but happy with them so far. I'm sure the next 500 miles around Scotland are going to put them to the test. Hopefully, like I say, a dry test, but we'll see. It is Scotland, not very often it stays dry in Scotland. So, full tank of fuel, 100 miles to the next stop, which is just north of Glasgow, Dumbarton. There's a lovely little Starbucks there. Stop off for half an hour or something to eat. Fill the bike up again, final fill up before we head up to Fort William. It's 10 o'clock. Lots of blue sky up above, which is good. Feel the sun just started to warm the day up now. Set off this morning, there was still frost on the cars. You can see my breath in the helmet. Just passing through the centre of Peebles. I'm going to go out on the A72 and the A721 towards Glasgow now. When we hit Glasgow, got a short stint on the motorway before crossing the Erskine Bridge, then up towards Dumbarton, which is our next stop. According to the sat-nav, 67 miles to go. Quick stop off in Dumbarton, coffee stop and fuel stop. It's 20 past 1 now, and we're on the final push. Got 90 miles left to do to get to Fort William. Thankfully all the motorways are over. 20 odd miles through Glasgow, M74 and M8. Never like using motorways, but it's a really easy way to clear a big city. So come over the Erskine Bridge, and a regular stop off when we come to Scotland is the Starbucks at Dumbarton there. Petrol station right next door to it, so we fill up and have half an hour. Just stretch my legs a little bit. Been on the road since just after 6 this morning, but you know what, I'm feeling alright. Doesn't feel like I've been riding for 6 or 7 hours. Thanks in no small part, I'm sure, to the new zero gravity sport touring screen. One of those things that you buy and you don't know whether it's actually going to have an impact. You don't know whether there's going to be a bit of a difference, but a really significant difference when riding with this on. Motorway speeds in particular, you know, 70 miles an hour and there's no buffeting at all. I'm sure that reduces fatigue, and I'm sure that's why I feel fresher now than I would normally do after 6 hours riding. So the plan now then is to ride up towards Alexandria and then take the A82, just skirting the west coast of Loch Lomond up past Luss and towards Crianlarich, and then the Highlands really start there. So we've got Glencoe and then up to Fort William. You see the Highlands just rising in the background. The terrain starts to change. still on the A82, just passing the entrance to the village of Luss, somewhere that I've spent quite a bit of time in the past actually. You see the entrance to the campsite on the left there. You see as it goes down there, Camping and Caravanning Club in Luss. Spent a few nights camping there at the side of the loch, highly recommend. And you just see Loch Lomond through the trees there, get a clearer view of that coming up. Framed beautifully of course with the Highlands in the distance. You just see layer upon layer of mountain. A82 up on the west coast of Loch Lomond, really wide for the first part, then narrows towards the north end of the loch, and actually a bit of a hot spot, so you can be very careful on here. Certainly as it narrows and starts to get closer to the loch, coaches in particular take up lots of the road around the bend. You need to be very careful, stay wide of the centre line. I've personally seen a few crash on here, a few accidents, cars and bikes separately, and I say it's often closed, and when it's closed it is a case of turning back round and going the other way. Right turn here on the A82 up towards Crianlarich. This is where the road starts to narrow as it meanders around the edges of the loch towards the north side. That's not a bad view though, is it? Right down the centre of the loch, just looking down south there. It's one of my favourite parts here, where the road seems to go out on stilts across the loch. You see how narrow the road gets. You can imagine the lorries and certainly coaches coming the other way. They'll come quite a long way onto the other side of the road. Welcome to Tyndrum, home of the famous green welly stop. Not many bikes outside there today. On a weekend that is absolutely rammed. The Tyndrum is a good base actually for heading further north to Scotland. It's 20 past 2. Sat nav saying 48 miles to Glen campsite. You see the scenery has become much more dramatic now. Quite a few snow-capped peaks. The side of the mountains just covered with pine forests. Just look at those mountains in the distance, absolutely covered in snow at the top. Stunning to see. Just feel the temperature drop. Put the grips on to 75%. Colder than I realised. The wind's really picking up. Hopefully the campsite will be sheltered later. Don't fancy my tent blowing around while I'm setting that up. Oh, massive crosswinds there. Trying to get in behind this screen just to try and protect myself as much as possible. Much easier on this new screen, obviously being a lot taller. A little bit of shelter from this banking. Right, what have we got? 39 miles. Oh, that'd have made a great pic. That'd have made a great photo. Could do with pushing on though, really. Still got Glencoe to ride through. Always a delight. Oh, another great view there, look. Absolutely brilliant. Spoilt for views over every bend you go around, every corner you turn. Absolutely brilliant. Makes it all worthwhile. This is why I've ridden for 8 hours today. Just look at that, that is absolutely stunning. 8 hours and 300 miles, but it's all worthwhile. Oh, massive crosswinds. Just look at that. Is there anywhere better? Stunning, absolutely stunning. Try and go past some of this and clear run. Just checking those cars had seen me before I committed to that overtake. That is just stunning, absolutely stunning. There are no words to describe how incredible that looks. Is there anywhere better to be riding a motorbike? Helps that it's not raining, of course. What an incredible place. This then is Glencoe. Just see how the road disappears into the distance, dissecting the mountains. Oh, look at that peak. Really imposing now, really close to the road. You can see here the road's actually been cut through the mountains. And I'm sure the GoPro doesn't pick up anything like the height of them either side of me. Looking forward to getting the tent up, grab a shower, and then it's about a 2-mile walk into Fort William, which I don't mind actually. It'll take me just short of an hour. Look for somewhere to eat, possibly curry or Chinese. See where we can get on this overtake. That's comfortable. Is that an Hayabusa behind? Looks like Glencoe itself. Fort William, 14 miles. Look at this, what an amazing bridge. Incredible views to both sides. Old wrought iron bridge. I'm sure there's a particular name for this design. I don't know what it is. It's great to look at anyway. That's not a bad view, folks, is it? What a treat to the end of today's ride. Well, what an absolutely belting view that is. I can't think of a more fitting way to end today's ride than to ride into Fort William at the side of this loch. Got an absolute treat planned tomorrow. 280 miles off to Maleg first of all. Take about an hour to get there, hop on the ferry. Never been on the ferry before, never over to Skye. So from Maleg over to Skye, then we've got a loop of the island. Stop off in Uig. And then back towards the mainland over the bridge about this time. And down towards the beautiful Eilean Donan Castle. So 280 of probably the best, well, certainly the best miles in Britain tomorrow. Before then, just a small matter of setting up camp tonight. Glen Nevis campsite. Fort William, here we are, look. Ben Nevis Visitor Centre. According to the sat-nav, campsite should be just up here on the right. Here we are. What a setting for a campsite, eh? Let's get booked in. Alright then, checked in. Really welcoming, friendly staff here at Glen Nevis. Makes a difference. I'm very glad to see that since my last visit, a restaurant's opened up. So I might be able to save myself a walk into town. A setting for a campsite. There we go.